What an extremely volatile week that we just had in the stock market. And let's start by taking a look at the fear and greed index. So, if you're first time here, the fear and greed index is essentially a gauge that monitors the sentiment of the stock market, the investors in the stock market. And as you can see, yesterday we were actually in extreme fear. So the market sentiment was extremely fearful, which is kind of odd, right? Because we're not that far off of all-time highs in the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and even Dow for that matter. And so it's interesting to see that we could be in extreme fear, but the market's not selling off. We're not in falling into correction territory where the S&P is down like 10%. It's really extremely fearful. There's a lot of this is you hear this every time on you watch on CNBC. This is the most hated bull rally in years, and whether it's people are uncomfortable. There's a lot of people who make money in the AI trade, and they're looking at their accounts. They're like, "Holy moly! I have a lot in AI. I have a lot in Nvidia. I have a lot in AMD, Oracle, whatever the case may be." And I think just folks are a little bit uncomfortable with the amount of games that they have and just thinking it all could be wiped away in a matter of a social media post over the weekend like we've seen throughout the year. So, it's just kind of interesting. The economy, there's pros and cons to it, but for the most part, the economy is holding together. Banks just reported this current week, and banks have done well. And we can take a look at the heat map just to see exactly what is going on in the market. So you can see, and I know you can't see very well. We kind of broadened out this past week. You did see spots, which is interesting here. The semiconductors did very well last week. By the way, this is on finviz.com. This is the heat map. You can come here on the side. This is the S&P 500, and then I'm just looking at the performance for the last week, the past week's performance, just to see exactly what happened in the market. And I like looking at the S&P 500 because it is 500 of the best and largest companies, and it is kind of diverse. It's a little bit of everything in the S&P 500. But I was getting at the semiconductors did well, but Nvidia, it was pretty much flat, which is kind of odd to see the leader not doing well, but the other competitors are, catching up, I guess, this week. Like I said, financials did well. Some did well. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, American Express did well. Morgan Stanley, Charles Schwab, but some of those smaller banks are the ones where you're hearing the cracks in those banks. Insurance didn't do well, like your Progressive, things of that nature. Coinbase, crypto's been down this week, so Coinbase has been hit. Robinhood's been down. I can't remember what sector Robinhood's in, or it's definitely in the finances, but I can't ever remember where to find it over here. I think it's asset management. Nope, not there. Capital markets. Here we are. Yeah, Robinhood down 6.5% for the week. So I just like to come here just to kind of look, zoom out and see exactly what's happening in the market. Sometimes it can kind of assure your things are better than what they seem, especially when you come over here and you look at the fear and greed index and you see, fear, extreme fear. You would think you would look here in the past week and everything's bloody red. That's not the case. So let's take it over to the scoreboard. Now we already discussed how it looks like everything was pretty good. We had a pretty good week. A lot of different sectors. There's pockets that performed well. So the S&P 500 was actually up for the week, up 1.7% for the past 5 days. NASDAQ was up today as well, up 2%, just over 2% for the week. And the Dow is up today, up $1.50 for the week. I'd like to highlight Bitcoin. I've been buying Bitcoin slowly. Anything around 108,000 or less is pretty good price to get in. So if you have some spare change on the side and you understand crypto, this is a buy and hold, not something I'm trading. Anytime I put money into Bitcoin or Ethereum, I don't really mess with anything else. I kind of just like, I'm not expecting to see that money anytime soon. That's just kind of like disposable income I'm putting away, essentially almost like a savings account, but a more volatile savings account that actually pays interest a lot better than your typical savings account will. Unless you have a high yield savings account, that's another option to go there as well. Gold has been doing well while it's on the top of my mind, but it was down today, down almost 2% today. It just seems like gold's going to continue to go higher, so this is a buying opportunity for a short-term trade. I know I bought it a little bit of gold, GLD, and I want to say those shares are up. Like I said, I don't have much, but are up like 40% in maybe about 6 to 8 months. So I enjoy the return. All right, going from the scoreboards, I like to talk about, let's go to the All In Collective. Now, this is a group of the companies that we have the most money, most coins invested in, and so we highlight these companies. They are Meta, NVIDIA, Apple, Vertiv Holdings, which is an industrial company. I always like to highlight it because people don't really know what it is, opposed to the other companies. They are a key partner with NVIDIA. NVIDIA brings the chips. Vertiv brings the assembly and the servicing the data centers that house and hold those semiconductor chips, those massive data centers, and they also keep the chips cool. So they are very important aspect in artificial intelligence infrastructure and build out. And I want to talk about another company here in just a moment that is just as vitally important that we're starting to invest in as well. Amazon, Netflix, and Uber. Now, Netflix is reporting on Tuesday, and I believe Vertiv is reporting on Wednesday. So we'll see a read exactly how data center business is going for Vertiv, and hopefully that'll bode well for NVIDIA. NVIDIA will take off as well. Typically, if NVIDIA is going well, Vertiv is following. I'm not sure if they can really, switch sides, and if Vertiv does well, then NVIDIA wants to follow. But these are the major companies. Typically, we have 10,000 invested or more in these companies. We did have Robinhood in here, but Robinhood is taking a dip, and so we moved it down to a portion of our portfolio. We just say small positions, but some of them are much larger than some of the others. So we always like to follow these companies. I'll always give you updates. I love Meta long term. It's still to see if they're going to win the AI race. It seems like OpenAI is in the lead as far as open LLMs. I've heard that Meta maybe go from open to closed, and maybe that'll be a strategic way for them to really push their artificial intelligence sites and goals higher with that super intelligence team that they have over there in NVIDIA. You already know it's the king, the semiconductors, everything is really built on NVIDIA. Now there's other options that are out there as well, other folks that are building out their chips for specific reasons, maybe more affordable options, but NVIDIA produces the best chips out there to date. Apple, hearing new reports that iPhone Air is sold out in China, so that's good to know. I believe the iPhone 12, just the basic model, is the most popular here in the States, but also those Pro Max models are also very popular as well. Also, Apple is, I guess, rolling out robotics. Sounded like I heard 2026, so maybe we'll be hearing more about that sooner than later, and that'll be able to combat Tesla and whatever they're going to be rolling out with those Optimus robots. I know personally, I'd rather have an Apple robot in my home or whatever they're going to be around me, more so than a Tesla. But that's me personally. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm an Apple investor. Vertiv, as I said, they are reporting next week. I'm interested to see how that goes. Analysts are still pretty bullish on the name, especially as we hear, what is this? Especially as we hear more partnerships and more artificial intelligence data center buildouts. That is great for Vertiv. Average price target is about where we are in this range. So hopefully we get some great news, some raising of guidance, and they beat in the top and bottom line as earnings and push shares higher. Amazon, this one's difficult. Amazon has been making a lot of advancements with artificial intelligence. They have a lot of robots that are working in their, I would say factories, for lack of a better word. They have the Zoox, the autonomous driving. I'm going to be going out to Vegas here in about a week, and I didn't get a chance to ride on their fully autonomous vehicle, but I would definitely want to try it when I'll be at Resorts World. So hopefully I'll be able to give a update and a video on that this time around. I didn't get a chance to make it last time. I'm going to do it for sure this time. But with groceries as well, they're rolling out better service for their grocery products. Hopefully that brings more earnings, more revenue to the business. There's a lot of things that they're working on. Also, they are, or at least in the past, they have been a leader in the cloud. You see Oracle, that stock has been jumping because of their partnerships and with OpenAI and things what they're doing with their cloud. Hopefully we hear something new with Amazon, that their cloud business is continuing to grow. I believe 20% is the magic number that analysts and investors are looking for. We want that AWS to be growing, as that is the next portion of their business as far as growth to really push this company higher. Netflix. I actually sold a little bit of Netflix today. I'm happy with holding the stock. I still hold it long term. It's still in this range, right? In the big boy range in our portfolio. But I don't think we'll see anything that's really going to, I think we know everything that we're going to know to really push this stock higher. I don't know if we're really going to see anything surprising other than steady growth, but nothing really substantial that, or any surprises. But I still hold it. I got in kind of late, but I'm happy to hold the shares. And then Uber. I probably have the most conviction of all of these as far as where I think the company is going forward. I believe this company is going to be $100 stocks probably by the end of the year. I have options that I just got in today. If you have listening this far, definitely check out the Patreon group. It's a free investing community online where I post my thoughts and my videos and my strategies and share all of my trades in real time. Now, if you want to access those trades in real time and trade with me and follow with me, be in mind, I'm not a professional. You can purchase the membership. It's only $10 per month, and I guarantee you'll get $10 in value out of the stock, even if you don't even invest with me. We'll be providing game research to lead you in the right direction, push you forward, so eventually you make the leap and start investing and managing your own portfolio. Okay, so definitely tune into the Patreon. You can see the link in the description of this video. But Uber, this stock, I bought it last year and early this year, and it was beat up because Tesla, Elon was talking about rolling out those autonomous vehicles. You can see right now we don't have really much. Waymo is really the one that's really out there pushing the autonomous vehicles and shuffling people around with rides on a daily basis. The Waymo is definitely the leader. It's not to say Tesla won't be able to come up eventually, but there was a lot of fear in Uber stock, and it was going towards Tesla, it seemed like. Well, year to date, the stock is up 53%. I rode that wave all the way up. Proud of myself for doing the research and I have the same conviction. It's not too late to get into this stock. Like I said, this stock can be $105, $110 easy mid next year. Is an opportunity to get a stock under $100, a company that is easy to understand, it's a company that you probably use maybe on a daily basis, depending on where you live or when you travel. That's when I use Uber the most. And yes, it sucks paying the fees and stuff, but I kind of like smile using Uber because I know that money that I'm investing into that company as a shareholder is going to be returned to me as a long-term shareholder of Uber. Okay, so buy some Uber stock. All right. And then some of the smaller companies we talked about, gold, Robinhood, crypto's been getting beat up. So there's a lot of trading and whatnot going on in Uber with crypto. So I think it's just it's going to mirror how if Bitcoin and Ethereum are down big, you're going to see Robinhood, your Coinbase, your MicroStrategies. You're going to see all of those companies probably share price probably go down as well. Just be mindful of that. I still like Robinhood. I had shares when they were well under $100. Rode the wave, sold, and then I got back in a little bit later in this year. Wish I would have held throughout when we were in April, but I ended up flipping and getting more Meta shares and things of that. Things that I thought were more high quality at the time. It worked out well, and we're back in Uber, so all is well. DraftKings, we've been talking about DraftKings past couple weeks. We believe the sell-off most recently because of the Kalshis and the poly markets and taking business from the sports books with these event contracts or these prediction markets. They're potentially taking business, which spooked a lot of investors in DraftKings and your FanDuels, who are the leaders in these sports betting, online mobile sports betting, and their shares have been getting clobbered. And I've been buying aggressively. I have I guarantee over 150 shares now, approaching 200 shares. Also have options contracts on NVIDIA, kind of short term and long term. So this is another name that I believe in, as well as Uber, DraftKings as well. Easy to understand. If you love sports, this is definitely a stock for you. And it's not that expensive. Palo Alto, this company has been doing very well. We ate off of the options on this one. And we don't have as large a long allocation to this company because when we first started buying it on the dip, it took off. And we were like, well, there goes that. And so we did add a very small amount today as it is pulled back with a lot of volatility in October. But this is another company. Cybersecurity is not going anywhere. Definitely want to check out this company. It's really kind of in the weeds. Need to be a little bit of technical to understand it. But to understand, cybersecurity is extremely important when we have this artificial intelligence and everything that's going on. We do need cybersecurity. It's important for our national security as well. So cybersecurity is a no-nonsense business. It's not going anywhere. MP Materials, another buy. So we made a video about this yesterday. I've been watching a couple of guys that I follow, and they were talking about this company. It had a pullback. Now look at this crazy run. Now it's up 400%, over 400% for the year. So you're probably like, Claude, why are you investing in something that's up already 400% already? Well, is you had a pullback. It was at $100. Now it got down below $80. So 20% off of that high. Why did it run up? Because China started threatening they were going to restrict exports of rare earth minerals. MP Materials is a domestic United States based, I believe in Nevada. They have some of their mining areas. And it is domestic, and we rely so much on China, and that is very dangerous for national security. Why is MP Materials so important to artificial intelligence trade? Because remember we said NVIDIA is very important because they have the semiconductors. Vertiv is very important for the artificial intelligence infrastructure and build out in the data centers because it services the data centers and it keeps the chips cool, running efficiently. Okay? Well, MP Materials digs up the rare earths that are used, that create these magnets that are used in semiconductors and electronics and are defensive in our missiles and things like that, of that nature. And so it's very important for national security. Right now, there are 3 stages of digging up the rare earth, which is the first stage, mining it, right? The second stage is breaking it down. Now it's technical. I don't want to get you into all that, but breaking it down, and then they break it down and they can sell it, or you break it down and then you create these, which is the third stage, create these magnets, and those magnets are then sold to companies like automotive companies. They use them as well. The semiconductor companies, they need them, and it's a 3-stage process. Well, first, MP Materials, they could only really do the first stage, and then they sent everything else off to China, and then China did steps 2, step 3. Well, China essentially had monopoly in this, and everyone's very dependent on that. And so that is, for our national security, we cannot be dependent on China, and that's why Trump went crazy when China started to put more restrictions on these rare earth minerals. They're like, no, we need these materials. So the Pentagon invested in MP Materials. Apple has partnered with MP Materials. General Motors has partnered with, or doing deals with, MP Materials to make sure this business is up and running so they can get the resources they need to operate their business. So that's why MP Materials is extremely important. I am starting to build a small portfolio, or small allocation to this company, and this is going to be a whole long-term hold. I did get a little frisky and jumped into an option as well. If you want to get into that, you'll have to be a paid member of the Patreon, $10 a month. And so I think this company is going to be very important for the long haul. Now, just be mindful, if we can get it in like the $65 to $75 range, that would be ideal. It is kind of it's frothy, right? It's up 400%, but it's up 400% for a reason. This company is extremely important for AI and for our national security. Microsoft, very important. We know this is one of the best companies in the market. Buy and hold this company. And then we have a couple other companies. We invested in IPO and Bullish just to play on the crypto. CrowdStrike, we have a very small portion of as well. Again, cybersecurity. And Figma. We have one small share of Figma that we got an IPO through Robinhood, just for fun. So that is all the companies we have in our long-term portfolio. And then we have options as well. It's Amazon, NVIDIA, Meta, Uber, DraftKings, Palo Alto, and MP Materials. If you want to see those trades, you're going to have to join the paid Patreon. That's the only time that I give that information out, exactly the trades we're in. We release it real time, and then on the weekends we kind of break down how everything is going, and maybe if you didn't get a chance to see or jump into the option exactly when I got into it that day, maybe it comes down over throughout the week, and then you can jump into the following week. So that's that. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. If you have any questions or tell me what you think about any of my investments, jump in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button. See you guys in the Patreon. At least join for free. It's free $99. I'll see you in the paid version, only $10 a month. Peace. Enjoy your weekend.